about 10 after 1. Today is the 8th of 2024, and I continue my streak of getting the year right. 8 days in a row, and I'm actually pretty sure that's a personal best. Who says that getting older, your memory declines? Maybe not always. Maybe not for this specific thing. So, I've been given some thought for a little while, and just maybe an hour or so ago, something occurred on YouTube that sparked my um, thinking even more so on this matter. What I'm what I'm trying to accomplish. Um, I'm always reluctant to say goals for me. Not that I don't have goals, and not that I don't consider them worthwhile, and maybe we should all have them. My goals, the goals that I have, are um, almost universally physical. To get this many burpees in this amount of time, to do this amount of pull-ups, or to run this amount of miles, or whatever. Um, those are goals. Other things that I have are intentions and aspirations, things that I am working towards, that I have this broader picture of, that might not actually take shape until it starts happening, such as my writing. Um, I've written my entire life, and it has both expanded and narrowed down in how it's expressed. Um, Hopefully, gotten better. Writing is a craft, and it gets better as you spend more time doing it. Um, my what I write about has also expanded and narrowed at the same time. It's an interesting dynamic. Um, I write about nature, science, yoga, all kinds of spirituality, meditation, breath work, um, quite a bit about science because it inspires me. But it all boils down to this sort of non duality, very yogic perspective. Um, no matter what I write about, it all seems to this broad perspective, and then it narrows down when it reaches the screen, when the ideas and the words reach my fingers, and then the keyboards. Um, Everything narrows down, and it's pinpointed to um, the specifics of reality, non-duality. Um, Again, that yogic perspective. So I've always looked for avenues of sharing what I write. Um, Considering myself, as I mentioned before, a yogi, everything is yoga in essence. So I think of it as the art of yoga, or the yoga of art. And I think yoga of art is even better. Um, I share it on my blog, I share it on Facebook, and I started sharing it on YouTube, to varying degrees of success. Of course, that's the way it is with anything. Um, but it's a great it's a great avenue of sharing. It's a great vehicle of sharing. You Even a small channel, tiny channel like my own, um, I can reach a broader audience. And some people will like what I share, others won't. Some people will leave kind comments. Um, Even if they don't like what I write, they might, good effort, they might give me a participation ribbon. Hey, I told this story before. I have a friend who told me, um, I don't understand a single thing you write about, but I read it every day because I appreciate the fact that you like it, that you care about it, that you care enough to do this every day, and you put it out there. That's a friend. And of course, we can all do that for each other, not just because we're in this burpee community together, this fitness community, but what we stumble across. One of my favorite things to do on YouTube is to find musicians, just a guy and his guitar, a guy and his keyboards, a guy and whatever. Um, Small channel who is just trying to put good music out. He's trying to express themselves, um, and to lend my support to that person. Absolutely love doing that. And I've actually made some friends on YouTube doing that way. I love finding the smaller burpee channels, the smaller fitness channels, and supporting them. Um, Even the bigger ones, because they're doing such good things. The Jay Jordan has a pretty big channel. Um, Same with Lee Hazard has a pretty big channel. But they are both putting out such quality work. Not just quality work. They are they have this bigger picture, this larger view of what they want to do. They want to inspire, and they want to make a honorable living from their inspiration. You can't ask for anything more than that. How to make a living. This would be in the Buddhist perspective, right living, part of the Eightfold Path of Buddhism. Our friend Richard runs trails here, and Richard is another one who, Richard, if you don't mind me dragging you into this conversation since you're here, you have a wonderful channel. It's growing larger. Every time I see it, it seems a little bit larger. Um, but it's a passion project for you. You're doing what you love. You're putting out this message of how wonderful ultra running is, um, living a fitness lifestyle, setting specific goals and working hard to achieve it, and sharing the whole journey with people. And you've gotten extremely artistic in how you present yourself. Um, Always fun and always inspiring to come to your channel. I don't think I can do that artistically, technically. But what I can do is read the stuff that I write every day, talk about the stuff that I think a day, and more importantly, put some kindness out in the YouTube sphere, in the on the interwebs. A little bit of kindness, maybe get some in return, but it doesn't matter. Which is why I brought this up on my desktop screen. Mother Teresa's famous words written on the wall of the hospital she was at. She didn't actually write it. It was written by someone else, and I can't remember his name. Um, but she liked it so much, and she shared it, and it's been attributed to her. And I think she made some changes to it, and I'll read it in a minute. Um, Richard says, "Thanks, Eric. It is definitely a passion project, since it's my hobby." Yeah, and you can. I actually love that term, passion project, and you can tell when it is for someone because your passion shows. You're a quiet, um, soft-spoken, humble person, yet when someone has passion, it burns through that humbleness. It burns through the quiet spoken nature of that person. Um, and it shows. It's not this big, bold, flashy type of, you know, image. For one, it's not an image at all. It's genuine, authentic. Being authentic shows through. Richard Runs Trail, Lee Hazard, the Jay Jordan, our friend Destiny, and I could get to the top of the burpee community and go down and just name all the attributes that these people have that make them a success to whatever extent they view success is. For me, I would like my channel to grow enough so that, one, we'll begin with selfish reasons. I need very little money to get by in life, enough to pay my utilities, my taxes, which again are high in this area. My house is paid for, my car is paid for. Um, I eat simply. Maybe have enough to buy a book on occasion. Maybe have enough to, buy a new piece of fitness equipment, whatever. Just enough. But more than that, I want to reach whoever it is that needs reaching, that might be helped by anything that I say, something that I write. Maybe that's one person. You know what? Reaching one person who needs a little bit of kindness, who needs a helping hand, who needs a word of encouragement, more than enough. Way more than enough. One person. In yoga, they would say, as goes the micro, so goes the macro. You help one person, and that ripple effect, the Maharishi effect, it continues onward. Reminds me, Ramana Maharishi, when he was asked by a follower, how should I treat others? And he looked at that person with such love and compassion, and he said, there are no others. There are no others. Such important words. There is us. Only us. You help one person, you help the entire world. You help the entire world, you help one person. So I try to put some good stuff out there. I try to put some quality stuff out there. It's the stuff that I write about. So I got an interesting comment on one of my shorts. Um, Someone said, "This is so dumb." And of course it is, from his perspective, at least, which is absolutely fine. Um, I don't, I really don't care someone else's view, especially in fact that, hey, if you're trying to get views and if you're trying to get comments, this is so dumb is just as good as this is incredible. So it's all good. I'm thankful and I appreciate it. But I thought there's other people out there who may be, who may experience something similar. I think of our friend Paradox and what he's building. I was amazed. I watched his podcast the other day, um, up until I was hit by the paywall. So eventually I'm going to have to subscribe to his podcast. But here's what I got from his podcast. One, he was having a blast. This person Paradox absolutely loves what he's doing. He loves the music. He loves his audience. He loves talking about it. Again, it's passion shining through. But also I was amazed at how much he actually knows from 90s hip hop onwards. He could pinpoint all this information. And it was absolutely amazing. Um, I do like hip hop, but I'm not a huge hip hop fan. I'm a jazz fan. Um, I'm an old time country music fan. Old time. Old time from the 1940s up until maybe the early 80s, when country and pop seemed to fuse into the same thing. I like country. I like pop. I don't like them together. Although I do like country rock. However, absolutely love jazz. Um, but his passion for hip hop, his absolute love for hip hop, was amazing to see. Bridget says some people are mean and will dislike a short to stop it from growing. Um, but if anything, doesn't it just attract more people? Richard says I've had that happen to me sometimes. So that brings me to again, I wanted to start with what we're doing, what we hope to accomplish, whatever that may be for each of us. But whatever it is, Richard and I might have different goals of what we would like to achieve with our channel, but we have the same hope and aspiration that it helps people, that it will do something for someone. So is why it reminded me of this from Mother Teresa, which I'm going to read. Before I do, let me see. Richard says we'll take it off the YouTube top shortboard. Well, that's a shame. And again, just to be mean for the sake of being mean. My aspiration is to be the exact opposite of that. Is to be kind for the sake of simply being kind. Nothing out of it. Nothing in return. Just being kind. Of course, when you're kind, you get the whole world in return because you feel better. You don't have that smug satisfaction of, I took away something from someone just because I could. You have that deep, deep sense of compassion and empathy that I gave to someone just because I could. Two ways of going through life. Which one do you want to do? Which one do you pick? It's entirely up to you. Sort of. That will get us involved in that conversation of free will. And I try to save my free will conversations for when Osiris is here, because he loves talking about it as well. Um, so even if you don't have free will, I feel bad for that person because he is stuck in that reactionary mindset where he can't help himself. He sees something that someone else is building for whatever reason, and he's not even in charge of that reason. He can't help himself but to try to tear it down. And he goes through his entire life doing that. And there's got to be moments late at night when you can't sleep and you wonder, why? Why do I do that? How can I stop it? Why can't I stop it? Is there another way? Can I be a better person? All good questions, self-inquiry. And if you ask those questions long enough, the answer comes. It's a form of meditation. Lay in bed and ask yourself those questions. They're important. Richard says, my latest got hit down to 90% like that. Was then built up again. I'm glad to hear that. It slowed it for a few days. They're just being mean for no reason. Yeah, that is a shame. Doesn't happen too often, but often enough that it caused me to wonder why, for what reason. So finally, I'm going to read this. I start turning to it, and then I go in a whole nother rant. This again, this was on Mother Teresa's wall where she worked at. Remember, she was in Calcutta. Kent Keith was the original author of this. He's a great author, by the way. I have another one of his books in my room on living the inspired life. Richard says, so that means 10% were not happy. I took off my brace, so just being mean. That's exactly it. Just being mean. How can you not celebrate someone taking off their leg brace and being happy for him? Our friend Lewis, it is what it is here. All right. I'm going to read this now, finally, especially with Lewis here, because here's another person who is building something. Remember, this is from Mother Teresa in Calcutta, working with lepers, people with tuberculosis, the worst diseases, starving children. And people try to tear her down. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. When you spend years building someone could destroy overnight, build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the best you've got anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. I read this once before a few weeks ago, and Destiny was here. Destiny's here now. Hello, Destiny. Important words. Important words to Richard, for me, for Destiny, for Lewis, for anyone who is trying to put any little bit of kindness out there. and someone's willing to tear it down, do it anyway. Let's see. Lewis has given us a salute, and he's saying hi to Destiny. Destiny, happy Monday. How are you? I'm doing pretty well, Destiny. Thank you. And I hope you are as well. I hope you had a great weekend. Richard says, hey, Lewis, hope your ribs are better. Soon you will need to start the summer burpee program. I remember winter you start. I think your doctor's appointment is this week, right? So maybe they'll give you, or soon give you, the go-ahead, the clearance. Lewis says, absolutely, Richard. I'm kind of upsetting about it. I can't control broken rib. And it does definitely interfere with your breathing. That's for sure. And see all you guys kicking butt is sad. Hey, remember, you and Richard are both on that comeback trail. Lewis says, yes, his appointment is this Thursday. So yeah, keep us posted on what your doctor has to say. And hopefully soon there'll be some type of clearance, maybe even starting out with squats and 4-count burpees. Maybe something more static, squats, push-ups, lunges, things that are a little more stabilizing than a burpee. So yeah, all depending on what your doctor might say. I know Brad on his comeback journey is doing a little extra work behind his doctor's back. But Brad's a pretty smart trainer and knows his body well. So let's see. Richard says, my doctor told me today I can start light jogging in 6 weeks. I just walk 1 or 2 miles until then. It's interesting because even that, you're building a foundation. You're putting in the steps that'll pay off. And I know quite a few ultra runners who are very uncomfortable with their walking. So you're building up that walking. I know you're not one of them, but you build up that hiking foundation. And Lewis says, I tried to do 1 push-up yesterday and it sucked. I felt pain in my ribs, unfortunately, and in the chest. But you know what? It's a start, and it gave you some feedback. You know that right now you're not quite ready to dive right in. So everything we get is feedback. Everything we get tells us something. What we do with it is entirely up to us. You got a result. So now you know, not quite there yet. But like Richard, you can put in some steps, maybe just easy walking, little by little. Smart words once again from Destiny. Go through the healing process, and you will come out of this tragedy much stronger and wiser. Definitely endure and learn the lesson, the pain and struggle. Praying for you. Again, wise and kind words from our friend Destiny. Lewis says those words mean a lot. That's because she's always so insightful. And when you get that kind of insult, it certainly always does mean a lot. Richard says, yeah, his knee has been sore, like I am starting over. Uh, it's progressing fast still. Good. My, if you were to ask me 3 days ago how my back was doing, I would have said, I think I finally turned the corner and it is healing. It's doing better. And then the last 3 days, it's like starting over. The pain increased, the inflammation's back. I don't know why. Maybe a little less than it was. So maybe if I just keep over and over, it'll lessen and lessen and lessen. My plan is to keep working through it um, as much as I'm able. So, much like anything, imagine Richard working on his comeback. Imagine Lewis working on his comeback. And somebody posting, that's dumb. That's stupid. Why are you doing that? What would be the actual point of that? Other than, as Richard and I were talking about, the sake of being mean to someone. And there's some people, that's their literal hobby of doing that. But, like Mother Teresa said, like Kent Keith said, do it anyway. Because it's not between you and anyone else. Even though we're putting this stuff out there, it's not about an audience. It's about connection. I don't have an audience. I don't have a platform. But I got this wonderful connection with my friends who show up. And we have these great conversations where they leave a great comment on my channel. That's what it's all about. Someone leaving a comment saying, this is dumb, that's not a connection. It's just a comment. And although it has negative effects on my short that I put out there, as Richard said, it's going to lessen the views overall, at least for a little while. It doesn't succeed in the attempt, because to me personally, it doesn't have that effect. I just keep putting my stuff out there, regardless of anyone else. Destiny is wishing Richard a great doctor's report, praying for you, and this too shall pass. You got this. God got this. Certainly so. Richard, do you think you're going to do 100 by the end of the year? Or start slower, maybe set a 50K goal or a 50-mile goal? It would be interesting to do maybe a late fall, early winter 100, or maybe a 24-hour race. 24-hour race, you can set a substantial goal, but you have the opportunity to take breaks whenever you want, and it's not so pressing. I know lots of people who ran their first 50 in a 24-hour event because they knew they didn't have to worry about cutoffs and they could just concentrate on the miles. Richard says, yes, a flat one, but start short. No single track this year, which is a smart move. Healing definitely takes time. And any trail race, any single track is going to definitely stress the hamstring. So that's what I wanted to put out there today. Richard says single track dangerous for falls, which cause the injury. The East Coast is gnarly single track capital of the US. Nothing but rocks and roots. From little things that you think you can dodge, but they're the ones that always catch me. I've never tripped over a boulder. I've rammed my head into a fallen log, fallen tree. actually. Uh, I got a photo on Facebook with the actual part of the branch sticking out of my head. Just a little nub. Um, but yeah, those little rocks, those little roots always catch me. And I think you mentioned this once before, Richard. Not falling is sometimes harder than actual falling because your body does all kinds of weird contortions to keep itself from falling that you have no control over whatsoever. It's you're falling, but your body takes charge and doesn't want you to fall. And again, it's definitely more painful than if I actually just fell and got back up and could continue. Um, so yeah, anyway, that's what I wanted to put out on this talk today. It actually came with that purpose of just talking about not necessarily ignoring what other people put out there in a negative sense. It doesn't need to be ignored. It doesn't always need to be acknowledged. But sometimes, that intentional ignoring also lends energy to it. Being aware. Being aware changes everything. So just bring awareness to what you're building and keep the focus there. Richard says the leg will shoot out to save you from falling. Yeah, which stresses all the ligaments and leg. Yeah, I've taken some nasty falls. And I've fallen probably in almost every race I've ever done. In the local ultra running community, I was infamous for three things: falling often, getting lost all the time. I've gotten lost in 24-hour races in a single loop. I got lost on the C&O 100, which is weird because you have a canal on one side and a river on the other. It seems like it would be impossible to get lost. Not necessarily lost, off track is probably a better description. And then the third thing that I was locally infamous for, well known for, showing up at the starting line with just seconds to spare. Always being slightly behind, just getting there in time for the start. No matter what time I set out to get there, always seemed to happen. Both Mocha and myself. So, guys, I'm going to end it with that, with our conversation. Richard, I appreciate the information that you gave me and your encouragement, as well as the insight. That was meaningful and valuable to me. And as always, I'm thankful for Destiny showing up and sharing her insights and wisdom, not to mention her kindness. Those are the things that things that feed the soul, that keep you going. And I appreciate Lewis being here, as always. As I mentioned before, Lewis shows up. I know he's got my back. Always appreciate that. Richard says, happy to help. It's fun to chat with everyone. It is, for sure. And Destiny said, thanks, Eric, Richard and Lewis. These great fellowships and discussion. Stay strong. And before I close, let me say once again, Destiny, I absolutely love that expression, fellowship. It really, to me, captures what we have here in the community, a fellowship. Everyone wants to achieve the same thing in different ways. Reaching people, helping people, being kind, encouraging other people, encouraging ourselves, being held accountable. It's important. for all of us. And you know what? If it's important for one, it's important for everyone. So, with that said, I'm going to say goodbye. I will see you guys tomorrow for some burpees. Take care.